Okay, thanks for coming along. What have you got to look at this week?
Yeah, well, one issue I picked up on and blogged on, and I know that actually quite a few people have followed up on it. I think it actually featured, or some of the data might have featured in the debates. One was the child tax credits. I sat on it for a week. Somebody sent it to me, and I thought, well, this is dynamite. It's deposited in the House of Commons library. Somebody somewhere is going to pick up on it. Absolutely, nobody did. So. And basically what it was a local authority breakdown of how many families come the 6th of April are going to be without their child tax credits in Scotland.
The bottom figure was 170,000?
No, 73,000. But there's more data come out from, apparently last December, HMRC actually indicated that it would be somewhere in the region of 84,000. So they don't actually even know. So it's anything between, I think, about 70 and 90,000 families in Scotland. And they're not the poorest, but they're certainly not the best off. They're absolutely the squeezed middle in Scotland. It's anybody who's between about 26,000 and about 32,000 used to be the old cut-off point. And that's basically going to cause 26,000 and 42,000. It's 32,000 for couples is going to be the cut-off point. That's on 16k each.
I mean, that's also, there's a huge trickle down there, because that's not money that gets saved, that's money that gets spent.
Absolutely.
Corner shop, Tesco's, kids' clothes.
It's childcare, it's everything, yeah.
So, I mean, it's not just going to be people losing tax credits, it's going to be all the businesses that gained that money.
That's right.
So, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, and actually, again, there's an awful lot of people probably in that income band range in the public sector. Given the size of the public sector employment in Scotland, and they're exactly the ones on a pay freeze and rising costs. They need that money, if you're used to having an extra £100 a month coming in, you're doing something with that money, and there's no way for them to kind of replace that money, if you like, because they're all on pay freezes. And with rising costs, it's a real struggle to drive their household expenditure down. It's going to cause an awful lot of problems for a lot of families. And these are people who vote. These are the aspirational kind of working class, lower middle class voters that everybody needs on their side. And that is why I'm absolutely astonished that no political party or politicians in Scotland picked up on this until I blogged it.
Well, just Scotland, the UK, I haven't seen it anywhere.
No, exactly.
And I mean, Tory party policy, you would have thought the Labour Party would be going through it with a fine tooth comb. Yeah. Very strange.
It is a bit a strange one how everybody missed it, definitely. So.
And the idea that the cuts weren't going to start hitting till this April. A lot was said about it last year at the beginning of the year. Yeah. Now it's going to hit. Definitely.
I think in Scotland we have been in a lag situation with England in that, a lot of their cuts to public services started coming through really quickly, whereas we had the protection of the extra year in Scotland. But, come this April, I mean, there are services at local government level being wiped off the map. And, that's been happening the last 12 months. What tends to happen in these situations is that the middle managers make the decision about where they can cut that nobody will notice and nobody will protest. So the most vulnerable are affected first. But, they've cut an awful lot of that out, and we're now into looking at
real cuts.
Real cuts.
Real cuts.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as you say, it's usually the ones without a voice that suffer first.
Yeah, and actually, the only saving grace is that we're in a council election year. In that, if you look at how some of the budgets were constructed, it was all about re-election budgets, and some of the hard cuts were avoided. And clearly, if you look at Edinburgh, I mean, the nonsense that they've been basically compiling a war chest, and that while they took 4 million of cuts out, they actually reinvested about 8 million back in, and could have given us a council tax cut, actually, because they are raising more, even with a frozen council tax, than they need for their current levels of expenditure. I blogged on that as well a few weeks ago, because I just found it astonishing that they took 4 million out of existing services, they had more money coming in from their council tax collection. They raided the reserves and they created this puff package of £30 million worth of pork barrel, basically, in order to buy the election. And you just think, you know, I despair sometimes, you know, if that's the quality of what we're getting in terms of when I know and others know about the real cuts that are happening in services for vulnerable people in this city, you know, and it's, you know, it's going to fill potholes and it's going to basically buy votes.